Hi guys, welcome to the last round of the Hastings 1895 tournament. In this round, going into the final game, Pillsbury had a half-point lead for first place over Chigorin. So he decided to play pretty safely to start the game and just kind of steered the game towards drawish waters. The prizes in this tournament were very significant for the time, so winning first prize was pretty meaningful. I forget what the amount was, but it meant something at that time. A decent amount of money for the 1895 year. So if you take a look, basically it makes some normal developing moves, and now everything kind of gets traded. And so therefore, white has a pretty safe position and is not going to lose, and thereby is likely to get at least a draw for first place. So he kept playing these safe moves, trading off the rooks, and at some point it was clear that Chigorin was going to win. So that changed things a little bit. It meant that if Pillsbury wanted to win outright clear first, he might have to win this game. So he played bishop to d2 and then traded bishops. Can white win a position like this? Well, I mean, optically, we do have some squares to use for our knights, mainly the c5 square, because our c4 square is not as weak because we can play the move b3 to kick the knight away. So you could say we have some small advantage there, but objectively, the position looks like it's drawn. So bishop c5 was played, a6 defending the pawn, b4 securing the b6 square, f6, g4, and now black took, and he took with the b pawn. So first question to you guys, what move should black play here? Pause your video, try to figure out what you would do here for black. Alright, so in the game, Gunsberg, by the way, if we remember Gunsberg, he's the guy who played for the third world championship against Steinitz, so a pretty solid player. Gunsberg played the very typical move, knight to b8, with the idea of blockading on c6. Now I'd like to give you guys a puzzle. I want you to spend anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes on it. This is not an easy one. Or more. You could spend 15-20 minutes if you'd like. Basically, pause your video and figure out what you would play here for white and evaluate the position. Slightly better, even, winning, etc. Alright, so I'm going to show the answer now. So despite a very safe opening, a very drawish looking position, white is winning here. Knight b8 was a blunder, not an obvious one. But after a move like f5, white would have a very hard time making any real progress. But he played the move, knight to b8, and now white has a shocking series of moves. And this is a great situation to train your calculating ability. If you haven't worked it out yet, I would recommend trying this, because this is a great calculation exercise. So in this position, Pillsbury played the shocking move, f5. The reason this is so strong is because if black tries to take it, knight f4, followed by capturing this d pawn, followed by two connected pass pawns in the middle of the board, black is in big trouble. But okay, it looked like black could simply play g5. And then it's like, whatever, the f4 square is no longer usable, how can you win the d5 pawn? Well, white played the move, and by the way, if you didn't calculate it from there, this is another calculation exercise. Because that one was very hard, now it's slightly easier, because you're one move further in. I'm sorry I'm torturing you in this video, but this is like a really important chess skill, the tools that get used right here. So, white, I'm going to show the move now. The best move, knight to b4. The idea is, again, this pawn can't capture anything because the knight takes d5. However, it looks silly because of a5. However, knight b4 is a winning move. I'm going to show you why. So now it looks like the knight has to move away. However, we have the move c6. If black captures the knight, pawn to c7, and we're going to make a queen either by taking the knight or pushing past. So after this move, c6, black played king to d6. And again, if the knight moves away, we can just take the pawn off. However, white takes on e6 now. And again, if pawn takes knight, e7. King takes c7. Not easy to calculate this stuff. But Pillsbury did it. And again, I think this is one of the most instructive calculation exercises you could show to young students. Anyone under 2200 should be able to be challenged by this. And if you're over 2200, it's still not that easy. So a takes b4, e7 wins. So he couldn't do that. Instead, he went knight takes c6. Knight takes c6, king takes c6. And now we had to have analyzed this endgame from in advance, sorry. And it looks like black's just going to go king d6, king takes e6, and round up the e-pawn. And note this calculation started about 5 moves ago, I guess. And white had to see this next move, very important move, e4, sacrificing another pawn. And after pawn takes, d5. Because the king cannot take the pawn because then we make a queen. So now this e6 pawn is protected. And the question is, do we have time to run over here, take this pawn, stop these 2 pawns, and win one of those, and then just eventually queen one of our passed pawns? And the answer is yes. After king e3, now if black does nothing, we just bring the king in, go to f5, take on f6, and we make a queen with the e-pawn. So black tries to get counterplay. King takes e4, a4, king to d4, and now black plays h5. This move fails miserably. White wins easily at this point. He just makes a queen. h5 is not the best defense. The best defense is the move king to e7. The point is, after king to c4, black goes b3, takes a3. And we still have to calculate this position out. The idea is after king c3, black will go f5, and after pawn takes, h5. We're going to make a passed pawn over here, and we already have a passed pawn over on the a3. So can white use his pawns while black is pushing his pawns? And the answer again is yes. We simply play b4, g4, b5, h4, b6, a2, king to b2, and now we figure we may end up queening with checks sometime. So let's go a1 queen, so that when we make a queen, it's check. The problem here, however, after g3, white simply plays the move d6. And note that b7 doesn't work because of takes. d6, king f6, and black queen's next move. So you still have to be accurate. But d6 right away does win. If king takes pawn takes pawn works too, but for simplicity's sake, b7, and we're going to queen with check, the point of d6. And when black plays here, we go e7. And when black plays here, again, we have a typical maneuver in these type of endgames. We make sure that we queen with check by playing b8 queen, king takes queen, e8 queen. And white basically wins by 1 tempo. And this is 24 moves after the move f5. Sorry, 23 moves. So I doubt that he calculated this far. He probably did. He didn't need to, because obviously white was not in danger of losing that position. But he obviously calculated a decent amount. A superb endgame from Pillsbury, one of the most famous of the 19th century. And I just really love this game. Super positioned to set up for students to train their hardcore calculating skills. I highly recommend it. And with this win, Pillsbury scored the first win of his career in a major tournament. Unfortunately for him, it was also really the last major win. He ended up getting, I think, syphilis. He got some diseases. He had mental health issues. And while he still remained one of the top players in the world for the next 5 to 10 years, he was very erratic. And you'll see in the next tournament, in St. Petersburg, he started out with a bang, was killing people, then he got sick and tanked the rest of the tournament, like totally tanked. He was totally an up and down player, whereas Lasker, super consistent, super solid mentally, and Pillsbury had just these mental issues that really got in the way of his success. Because I believe that if he was 100% mentally, physically, for his whole career, I don't know. I don't know that Lasker would have been better than him. He had a tremendous style, extremely deep calculator. More so than Lasker, in my opinion. He reminds me of just a kind of dynamic type of Kasparov, Fischer type player. Whereas Lasker was just a more practical, cagey guy. But he just had all these issues. And he never played quite as good as he played in this tournament, which is a shame because he was so young when he played this. I think if fate could have been a little different, he could have been world champion. Instead, he never even played Lasker in a match because just various issues. And you know, he got sick, he got weaker, but he was still like top 5 in the world for a long time. But he died very young, I think in like 1910s or first 10 years of the 1900s. He died at a pretty young age. I'm actually going to look that up right now, just to get like that information for you. He died in 1906 at the age of 34. When he won this tournament, he was 23. So yeah, he had syphilis infection. So basically, on the Wikipedia page, it says poor mental and physical health, the result of his syphilis infection, would prevent him from realizing his full potential throughout the rest of his life. He succumbed to the illness in a Philadelphia hospital in 1906. So a bit of a shame, because I really think this guy was a huge talent, like one of the biggest talents ever. I mean, because just this tournament, I could feel it in his moves. I could feel something special because he would calculate deeply. He would play aggressive attacking moves, and a lot of his moves were very difficult, even for me. Like, he felt like, sometimes you look at these older guys like Steinitz, and I just feel like I'm much stronger than him. This guy, maybe I'm stronger because, you know, chess has advanced so much, but his ideas were really good. And he seemed to just have a really good feel for chess. So it's a shame, and I feel like he's one of the unsung kind of talents in chess history, because I really think so. I think he had what it took, and just within a year or two, he got really sick, and it totally messed him up. So that's all. Thanks, guys, for watching this tournament. I think we have another tournament coming after this, and you'll find out what tournament that is tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed seeing some of Pillsbury's games. This one was one of my favorite. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.